this is live. Okay, fuck it. Welcome to another episode of Two Old Goats. I am Pat. Below me, or next to me, depending on how you're viewing it, is Bryan. And sitting sideways right now is our Sparrow. We got two old goats and a Sparrow. We have the lead guitarist of the band Sparrows with us. Matt, how you doing, buddy? Welcome.
I am excellent. How are you guys?
Wonderful. So yeah, Bryan sent me a text. He's like, "Hey, I got the guitarist for the band Sparrows lead guitarist for the band Sparrows to come on our show." And I was like, "Cool. Who the fuck is Sparrows?" And I checked you guys out. Holy fuck, you got. I would have started off like this. So if anybody doesn't know Sparrows, go check them out. I know they're on Spotify, but probably everywhere else. They are the type of music that when your boss pisses you off, when the kids are yelling at you, the wife or the boyfriend is mad at you, when you get in the car, this is the shit that you crank. This is the stuff that you're like, "Oh, I gotta get that." It's fucking good. It's really good. So really excited to chat with you.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
So we know that you're based out of Texas now.
Yes.
But I also know you in some city area.
Yes.
So where?
So I was born in Lawrence, Kansas, and my mom grew up there. She graduated from KU. My uncle graduated from KU. We didn't stay there long. We moved down to Texas for a job that she had, but I've gone back almost annually growing up, and then have made several pilgrimages back since.
Nice. Also,
Absolutely, 100%. Life is diametrically opposed to the way it was when I grew up. Because, man, what kind of life are we living, guys?
I mean, after what we got, Patrick. Yeah, we've seen some bad years.
Oh man, 23 years without a playoff win.
Dude, I grew up with Todd Blackledge as the starting quarterback. So, I mean, I've seen some shit.
I have a Steve Bono jersey.
I'm with you.
I can't say much. I'm a Bears fan, so I mean, we had the one good season. We had the 85, and that was it. We're clinging to that motherfucker.
Absolutely, I would too.
Well, yeah.
Okay, here's an important question. Since you lived in both Kansas City area and Texas, better barbecue?
Oh my goodness, Kansas City.
Okay, good. Because if not, we were going to end the show right here.
And like Houston does a pretty good job, but like it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it is in Texas. But every time I bring up I'm from Kansas City, this last year I've been traveling for work a lot. And they're like, "Oh, you have the best barbecue." And all. I was like, you know what? Like, we don't eat barbecue every day like everybody thinks. Like, there are so many more better restaurants out there than just barbecue.
Definitely.
So it's crazy. If you can't tell, we're kind of foodies, music lovers, wrestling, everything.
All
about it. Every one of it.
Okay, so I told you in the pre-show, my wife actually wrote down a bunch of. My wife's a huge metalhead. She drugged me. I'm the punk. I drug her. It was the summer of punk last year, so we went to all the punk shows, all the bands that I grew up with: Descendants, Bad Religion, Green Day, Rancid. They were all on tour, so went to a lot of punk shows. So she took me to Sanguisugabog, Kublai Khan, Whitechapel, and Lorna Shore. Out of my realm for that, but still, it was a great job. I mean, a show like that, I'm just like, oh, okay, I'm going to watch just for the spectacle of it, basically, and very, very entertaining, even though it wasn't my thing. But I shouldn't say not my thing. But anyway, so she wrote down a bunch of questions. She's a huge metalhead. So, what model of guitar do you play?
I am straight up Ibanez. All of them Japan made. The two that I use live are both, I think, 99 and 2000 models.
Okay.
Nice.
And then I have another that's a little newer, the pink one. That's like a 2008.
Nice.
But I'm the best 7 strings on the face of the earth. Like, Korn was definitely one of my first favorite bands. It didn't last terribly long. Nu metal didn't really sit with me terribly long. But they did so much for the mass production of 7 strings. Like, it wouldn't be the same without them. And they made some incredible guitars back then. And I still use
You play
them
7?
forever. Yes.
Excellent. I'm a drummer. I grew up playing drums. Never in a band. Well, I can't say that. A couple of times in a band, but I'm the same way. Like, I grew up. My dad was a drummer, and I grew up with a full drum set in my room. A 1959 Pearl drum set.
Ooh.
So I grew up playing. You know, my dad was a huge Hendrix fan, so I'm 2-3 years old listening to Hendrix, and I'm beating on drums. So I'm the same way. Like, Pearl was my thing, and then like I started a little with Tama and Ludwig.
Mhm.
There's some cool stuff out there, but like, you know, I'm once you get that brand that you like, you don't sound the same on anything else.
Man, that is so true. Like, I worked at Guitar Center for like 4 or 5 years as well, and I've played tons of different guitars. A lot of them work for me. Plenty of them don't. I've never been able to get around PRS. Like, they're beautifully made guitars. They use super high quality components. They're worth every penny, but they just do not vibe with me. I cannot find a neck shape that works the way I want it to. And I'm not like a super huge hollow body guy either. I'd love a semi-hollow someday, but not really the application kind of things that we do. So
exactly.
But Ibanez is home base.
So
like
playing a different guitar is like cheating on somebody where you're like, oh, this feels wrong.
Kind of, because like I recently I played an Ernie Ball Kaizen. It was designed by Tosin Abasi with Ernie Ball, and they are ergonomically perfect. I've never touched an instrument better. The Majesty model that Petrucci made with them is real close, but it still feels weird. Like I can't bring myself to. For one, they're super expensive, so I'd have to really save and work to afford one anyway, which is why they've never really gotten super serious consideration. But it's still, it feels weird to even flirt with that.
So, and like I always tell people, it's even down to strings. Like, people don't know that, you know, like a lot of people think, oh, he's got an Ibanez, or they have Ibanez strings. Well, yeah, Ibanez makes strings, but it depends on what kind of strings, you know, different company. It's like the same with drums and drumsticks. It's just kind of like, you know, once you find that groove, like I was saying before, it's awesome.
That's right. It's a Dario string all day long.
Yep. Just like when back in the day when I used to skate, you know, slime ball wheels were like the thing, but there were other wheels out there, you know, and once you found your wheels, you were good to go.
Yeah, I wish I could have done that. I'd always fall down.
Me too.
I was not the best, but I had a board, you know. Skate around with my friends, but we never did like the pools or anything.
I was running around, you know, in the 80s and early 90s. This is when skateboarding like really started to take off. Like pre-Tony Hawk. This was the wave before Tony. And, you know, I'm running around in Vans and Converse and stuff, and I'm listening to the skate punk music, and I couldn't go 10 feet without falling down, you know.
Because you'd always hit that rock, you know.
Yeah, no, I just have absolutely no coordination when it comes to that. I tried many times, but yeah, just like I tried playing bass. I think my problem is I'm left-handed, and I was trying to play right-handed bass, so it just felt weird to me. Yeah, I tried years ago to play bass and never got it down, and I was like, never mind. So, and actually listening to you, because I did a lot of Christmas shopping today, And so I was listening to you guys a lot for a couple hours. I just hit Spotify and hit play and just, going through your library on that. And I was really trying to focus on you, man. Dude, you could shred. I mean, you could really, really fucking shred. How long have you been playing?
About 25 years now.
Jesus.
I started when I was about 12, 13.
Damn. Okay. Well, first off, you don't look that old. So, congrats. Whatever you're doing, keep it up. I thought you were like 25 or something like that. So.
Excellent. Love that. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I was really impressed with you. I gotta say, I do like the singing because my wife likes the more, whereas I like the, I guess.
Sure.
So I did like the vocals in that. So I was, like I said, I had you guys on for a couple hours. I was digging it. But yeah, okay. Do you have another question, Brian, or do you mind if I hit one?
Oh, you go ahead.
This is another one from my wife, Casey, which Casey, she said if you ever come back to Kansas City for a show, she will definitely come, and I will be there. Yeah, what is your most memorable show?
Ooh, okay. I spent most of my gigging life in two bands, and the first one, we were called Daimonian when I joined, and we were like a black death metal band. Did that for a year and a half or so, and we changed the name to Verdict of Vengeance. We were like a death thrash band, different singer, but same musicians. And in that band, we opened for Avenged Sevenfold in like 2008.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Right after that self-titled record, kind of unfortunately close to Jimmy's death, and they were super nice dudes. That was the biggest crowd I've ever played for. And we'd won a contest to do it. It was in Little Rock, Arkansas, and it was one of like two dates on that whole tour. It was outside, and it was raining the entire morning. And I thought for sure they were going to cancel it. And if they did that, they might make that show up, but they're not going to invite the contest winner to come back and do that. So I was watching my dream being taken from me, and it cleared up. We ended up playing, and like a couple thousand people. Huge fucking show. Love that one. Sparrows, we opened for Marduk once at Gas Monkey Live, and let's see, we also did a road show with Goat Horror in Victoria, Texas that I will hang on to for the rest of my life. Like eating with them at Waffle House at like 4 a.m. I was living.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah.
I keep saying I want you guys to come up here and play at like the Granada or.
I would die to play the Granada.
Granada or Liberty Hall. I would amazing, and then afterwards go have some Rudy's Pizza.
Sounds delicious. I love Mass Street. I haven't been in probably 5 years. I went up there to see Watain and Mayhem, probably 2015, something like that. And then I caught KU and Oklahoma on a big Monday
Nice.
the next day. That was absolutely killer. There's no building like that.
The last show I saw at Liberty Hall had nothing to do with metal. It was a friend of mine was kind of like a hippie in the early 2000s, and we saw a guy named Keller Williams.
Okay.
And he loops his music, and his show is just him. When he goes on tour, he doesn't have an opening act. It's just him. He comes out barefoot. He's got like carpets all over the stage, and he'll play like the bass, and he'll hit something with his foot and just loop it. And that's
incredible.
He's a really, really great musician. Not really my style of music, because in high school, a buddy of mine, like sophomore year, we were hanging out with some friends, and then friend gave him this tape. He's like, "Here, listen to this." And it was back in the days where you recorded stuff on tapes, you know.
Oh yeah.
Like, all right. Well, it was "Cowboys from Hell"
Okay.
by Pantera. So of course he pops it in, and I'm like, "What is this?" That sparked it right there for me. And I listened to, like, you can ask Pat. I listen to everything. I listen to punk. I listen to metal. Metal's my preferred thing. No country.
Yeah.
Very little rap. Like I'll do Body Count because Body Count
Sure.
badass.
Totally.
But so that got me going. And you and Matt were talking the other day on Twitter about as I had said that Whitechapel's Pat's. So let's talk about first shows really quick.
Yeah, my first metal show. Yeah.
What was your first metal show?
Okay, so the first show I ever went to was Dream Theater, Joe Satriani, and King's X
Oh,
when I was a sophomore in high school.
that's a solid show.
See, that's like
Oh, it was killer.
Dream Theater is one of my favorite bands, and
Yeah.
so we'll get into the Dream Theater in just a second. So I'll say my first metal show, my friend and I bought tickets for because we were huge Pantera fans. Well, they were going on tour.
Yep.
My friend had no idea who they were going on tour with. So this is back in the day. We were at Ticketmaster. We were first in line. We waited hours, got the tickets. Fifth row, center at Sandstone for White Zombie, Pantera, and Megadeth.
Wow. Holy shit.
And when this in mid-July, 100-degree heat when we got there, and we're just like, fuck yeah. We were ready to see White Zombie, not Rob Zombie. So like this had Shania Salt on bass, and she's
how old we are.
She's just a badass.
Mm.
And Rob Zombie's out there. Everybody back in the day had their little water bottles they drink out of on stage. He has like a 99-cent Always Save jug of water, trashes it, and then just throws it into the crowd. It was phenomenal show. But anyway, back what I was going to get to with Dream Theater. So Pat, that's more, which is awesome. But if you were to give Pat like 4 bands to start off to kind of introduce him into metal, what bands would you tell him to listen to?
Okay.
Just to kind of like ease him into it. What are a few bands that you would say, hey, you know?
So I think a Criminal Septon band is Vader. They do everything well that you can with metal. They have really solid riffs. They do they play really fast, up tempo stuff. You get a ton of souls, and their singer doesn't have a ton of range, but he's got one of the most unique voices in all of metal. Then I would go. Let's see.
See, I was thinking something like maybe Exodus, since he's like singing. And Exodus is old school. Like, it's for me, Exodus is probably one of my. I would put Exodus in the big 4 and take out Anthrax. Honestly,
do they?
See, if I could do that, I'd take out Anthrax and put in Testament.
Testament too. Yep, Testament works as well.
Does Exodus? Do they sound kind of like AC/DC? The lead singers sound similar to AC/DC.
I can hear that.
Yeah, I can see it.
The Balls to the Wall song or something like that.
That was Triumph, I believe.
Except.
Except. That's what I'm thinking of. Okay.
Yeah, he sounds a little bit like Accept. Yeah.
Sure. There's definitely Udo vibes.
No, yeah, I was thinking of Accept. Okay. Yeah, because the first time I heard that song, I was like, I don't know this AC/DC song.
Well, let me ask you this. With Anthrax, Belladonna or Bush?
I'm more a Bush guy. I'm not a huge Anthrax guy anyway, but more Bush.
If I'm listening to Anthrax, I'm listening to Stomp 442, and it's
Sure.
John Bush singing, because I'm
Yeah.
a John Bush fan.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge Scott Ian is great on the guitar. I'm not a huge fan of theirs.
I'm not either. They do next to nothing for me.
Yep.
Glad to find some more people in agreement with that.
Yep.
I like I'm the Man.
Yep, that is a good song. And the video's hilarious if you watch the video.
Yeah. And the B-side remake from 1990 is pretty good too. Okay, we got Vader, we got Exodus, give me 2 other metal bands I should try.
Dream
Man, if you're going along those lines, King Diamond.
King Diamond.
Yeah, King Diamond's good.
Being on there, right? Especially Abigail.
Yep. And I mean,
I saw him like 2 weeks ago, so I'm still on that high.
Nice.
if you're in the, it depends on the mood you're in too, because if you're in driving, you're angry, you know, put on this band, or if you're ever in like a, well, if you're ever in a partaking mood, I would say Corrosion of Conformity.
Sure.
Yeah, I've listened to them in the past.
I saw them with Megadeth on tour once, and they were good live. Megadeth surprised me actually, because after the first Megadeth show, I kind of got into them for a while.
Oh, I have always been a huge Megadeth guy. The guitar players in that band, and holy shit!
I get my ass kicked for this all the time. Not ass kicked, but online for liking Megadeth and Metallica. Like,
me too.
They're just become better, you know.
Oh, they're better. And like a big part of that is Dave always used guitar players better than him. So like you have two guitar players of that caliber. It's just, especially Rust in Peace and like Peace Cells, like that just kicks the shit out of anything Metallica ever did.
Even what is it? God, I can't think of the name of the album now. Cryptic Writings is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And that's like,
that was the first Megadeth album I ever heard.
Nobody plays it, you know?
Yeah, they'll play Trust live occasionally, but that's about it.
Yeah, Trust is good. I like She-Wolf too. And yeah, there's a lot off that album that I like. So Pat.
I think Vortex was the first song I ever learned.
Vortex is good.
Yeah, it is.
Pat, you've been listening to Sparrows all day. What would you say so far your favorite of theirs?
I was looking at this earlier. I was trying to, because I was like, I gotta remember that name. I liked Archimedes. I liked.
That was my first one.
Oh shit!
It just has that, like that flow, you know. Once and it's going, and you're like
Eradication. I really like, because it was funny because I was looking at, I was like, oh, I really like Archimedes. I really like Eradication, and then there's another song, and they were all one word, and I'm like, man, I hope this dude doesn't think I'm just picking random one word songs. No, there was a, oh shit, I think it might have been Heretical Bedlam, or it might have been was it Slave by a Horn Gallery? There was a Ghost Ship of the Abyss. That was a really good one too. Quiet Death in the Dark. That's your first song on Spotify. That's a good intro. That's a good intro to you guys. And then it only shows the top 5, but like you guys have a whole bunch of songs. I mean, you guys got what, 4 EPs, or is it?
You're right. 4 EPs and 1 album.
There it is. Okay, yeah, Rivals of Christ. That's what it was. I really liked Rivals of Christ. I knew it. I was like, it's okay. It had a religious tone to the title. Yeah.
Fallen's one of my favorites too.
Eradication, Rivals of Christ, which is the album name. But yeah, no, it's really like as you got down. I don't know what song. After a while, I couldn't take because I've only listened to them one time. I mean, so it takes a couple of times to be like, oh yeah, there's this song and this song. Yeah, right now they're kind of like all one in my head.
Sure.
But I remembered like later on you had the more guttural singing with the higher screaming and stuff, and I was like, oh, that was a nice mix of the two. Is that earlier stuff or is that later stuff or is it just interspersed throughout?
It's something we've been doing kind of throughout. Rivals of Christ and the first Mark, because there's a Mark of the Beast trilogy, Indoctrination, that and Rivals of Christ predate being in the band.
Okay.
And when I joined, they had a standalone singer named Jason, and he was excellent. And during the recording, especially, he did it on the first couple albums, but definitely on the Eradication EP, he started really experimenting with doing the lows and the highs together. And we're a band that pulls from a lot of different genres and different sort of subgenres of black, or I just say black metal, but a different metal. Mm-hmm. So you're mixing a lot of black metal, death metal, thrash, and so it kind of necessitates a varied vocal approach, basically. And so that, after he left, Mike, our bass player, took up the arms. We had to fill in for a little while, but he just kind of a straight up old school black metal kind of guy, and it worked for the most part, but it just wasn't sort of a long-term thing. And so Mike has been doing vocals for the last couple EPs, and he just keeps getting better. And he likes to layer the low with the high as well. So we're in the middle of writing a new one now, and
excellent.
He's doing that sort of thing with that.
Just get a full album or another EP?
It'll probably be another EP. We're looking at 5 songs. We have 2 that are done, and we're playing live. A third that is pretty close to done, and then a couple others that we're singing around with. As soon as we have 2 shows coming, one at the end of this month, one at the end of January. Then we're gonna start buckling down and recording this.
All right. Now, because I've been doing stand-up for years, so I've noticed that there are times, and I'm wondering if you have the same thing, where you will have show for like a few months. You'll be booked pretty well, and then you get a dry spell, and you're like, "What? Who'd I piss off? What's happening?" You guys ever have that to where you're like, "Wait, we just did." 15 weeks or whatever, 4 months straight of shows all the time, and now there's nothing. Nobody's paying any attention.
Oh, for sure. And to be completely honest, the pandemic had a pretty good effect on that.
Yeah.
A ton of venues closed. Plenty of bands we used to play with aren't around anymore. So we'll go through stretches where we'll have, we try not to play in the DFW area or any one area really. Too often, don't want to oversaturate.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So we'll go like a few shows in a couple months and then have a couple months off or what have you. This last couple, we had 2 shows in November, one in Austin, one in Denton. And we hadn't ventured out of DFW in a while, so playing down in Austin was pretty sweet.
Austin's a cool city, too.
I
love Austin.
With all of my travels, I keep thinking, well, maybe they'll send me down to Dallas because we have a branch down in Dallas and they need help. And then Sparrows will be playing that week and and like every time they send me out for work now, I'm going to Rochester, Minnesota to help out up there. So it was 3 degrees last Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday there. So
good God.
Little chilly. Like after work, I just want to go back to the hotel room. I didn't want to go find food. Just get back there, But so yeah, I mean the same thing that the pandemic hurt. I have Pat and I actually met at a wrestling show.
Oh, sweet.
Through a mutual friend of ours, an independent wrestling company called Journey Pro, and they were running out of Kansas Hall at 119th and Metcalf in Overland Park, and it was a bar.
Okay.
It was a bar in like 2 weeks, and I wish I would have known and been there for this, but before their very first show, Sons of Texas played, and I was like, I could have saw Sons of Texas. That's badass. But we started running there, and then pandemic hit, and then Journey, like the main guy who did most of a lot of the stuff, stepped down and said, guys, I'm done. The pandemic hit, and like they lost the venue because the venue turned into some computer game place where you can go play computer games. Yeah, now it's back to a bar, but so it kind of killed the business for that up here. But yeah, we met through a mutual friend of ours at the show, and like I'd been friends with his friend. We call him Lucha Chris because he wore a lucha mask out in public, everywhere, to work, everywhere.
He didn't wear it to work. I worked with him, so yeah. He didn't wear it to work. I knew what he looked like. But he wore it all the time.
A year and a half ago was the first time I seen him without the mask. And then Chris isn't even a name. I'm like, what? Like the whole time he's been Chris, and now he's Murray. So I'm like, all right. But yeah, it's very cool to see that. Do you guys book a lot of do you try to go into like bars every once in a while if you're, kind of like, hey, we got to play. Let's go play somewhere. Do you say, hey, hit up a bar or say, hey, you guys looking for an act or anything like that? Or how does your booking go? Do you have like certain ties where you get in certain places?
So we will typically get hit up through our email. Between me, my drummer, and between me, Brian, and Mike, we've been doing this like 20 years between the two, between our various bands. And then Ryan has been doing it since 2010, so we know a ton of people around here. Then every once in a while, if there's a touring show coming through here, I'll hit up a promoter, try to get us on that. We just played with Exhumed over the summer, which is super dope. Incredible band. Those dudes are wonderful. Yeah, it kind of ends up going that way. And we all have jobs. So, like, we're not scheduling stuff too terribly often.
Yeah.
Got to work around people's schedules.
Totally understand that. But, so where's some place, not Dallas, or we'll say Kansas City too, because you were here and you come here a lot. Where's a place that you like to go because of the food? And what place is it that you like to go to?
Or a place you get excited about because you know of a certain food there?
I have two answers because I'm equally split between them.
Sure.
I will start with New Orleans and really, you can get the best quality Cajun food at like little shitty holes in the wall on like 45 between Alexandria and Baton Rouge, really. But
yeah.
That's what we say about barbecue here. People are like, where's the best barbecue? It's like, if you go to a place that looks like it's going to fail the health inspection, that's going to be the best barbecue.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when I lived in South Texas. It was the taquerias. You want the best Mexican food? You go to the scariest looking place.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the shittier the place, the better the food. Yeah.
Especially if that taco place is attached to a gas station.
Yeah. Or a barbecue place attached to a gas station.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So the Cajun food, what do you like there?
I'll have any po' boy of any kind.
Nice.
I love alligator. I will have that anytime I can. I love jambalaya. And
Oh yeah,
it's crazy to me, as close as this state is to Louisiana, and as many people have moved over here from there, we cannot figure out Cajun food. Like it's just lackluster anywhere
and that's
around here.
weird.
The closest you get is Houston. Houston does an okay job,
Yeah.
but here in DFW, man, it is lacking.
That is crazy. So
Right.
where's the other place that you like to go?
San Diego. I was pescatarian for about 4 or 5 years now. And that's the best seafood that I've had in this country. There's a spot there in Coronado called Miguel's that has a shrimp omelet that'll fucking knock your socks off.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah.
So, my wife grew up a lot of her childhood in the middle of Massachusetts, and she'll Salem, Massachusetts, on field trips because, like, if you're in the middle of Texas and you want to drive to the east side of Texas, it's usually what, 3 hours, 2-3 hours.
From the middle of Texas to the side? No.
Yeah, man.
It's like 8 hours.
But okay. But I mean, you get my meaning. Like in Massachusetts, It's like 30 minutes and you're there.
Yeah.
So they'd take field trips to Salem. And my wife's a huge seafood fan. Finally, after almost 25 years of marriage, we went up there a few years ago to Salem for a few days. And I'll tell you what, the seafood up there is ridiculous. I am not, so I like fish. I'm not a huge like lobster person. But we had this lobster mac and cheese at a place called the Lobster Shanty. And we both ordered one, and we could have just ordered one and split it because it was so rich but it was so good. And the lobster chunks in it were they were huge. And so she's always has to get her lobster roll up there, and like I'm always eating stuff up there. And weird because I'll come back saying I ate this, and my parents are like, "Were you sick? Are you feeling okay? You never ate fish as a kid, you know." But,
well, yeah, I mean, on the coast though, that's it's fresh, as fresh as catching it yourself down there. That shrimp omelet though, that sounds really good.
It was fire.
Okay, I got another wife question for you.
Okay.
Who are your favorite guitarists?
So there's about probably 7 to 10 make up that group. Jason Becker is my favorite of all time. Steve Vai, Adrian Smith, Andy LaRock, Paul Gilbert, Buckethead, Brian May, Eric Johnson.
Oh yeah, Eric.
Chuck Schuldner.
Would you say are those your favorites, or are those also the ones that influenced you, or a mixture of both?
Yeah, that's a mixture of both. I'm pulling from a lot of those most of the time. Especially Adrian Smith and
There's
LaRock.
a whole lot of different genres too. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know. I think you kind of need that. You can't just pigeonhole. You could be a metal guitarist, but you still gotta listen to other stuff. Just to, if not, it's just like you're on a 1-lane road, and you have no exits or anything like that. I think it's the same way.
That's exactly right.
I do the same thing in stand-up, where it's just like you can't. You have to take other ideas. You have to take other approaches and stuff. So, yeah, I got no ending to that. I just fucking rambling like the old man I am. Let's move on to another question. How about what band were you most excited to play with? or bands?
Ooh. Goat Whore's a big one. We play with them 5 times now. To the point, like, we played with them in Denton last year, and when they played, calling us their good friends and dedicating songs to us and whatnot. If you told me that at 20 years old, like, I'd have smacked you. Like, there's no way that's happening.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Love that.
Fucking cool.
Marty was another one. Satyricon. Really, any European black metal band that comes over here, because it doesn't happen terribly often.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. Like I missed their about the same time. Well, let's see, 2007, 2008. Meshuggah came over and was playing it in Lawrence at
Oh my
the
God.
at the Granada.
Really?
And I missed it.
No.
Yep, I missed it by about 2 days because I was working.
Oh.
And I found out 2 days after they were there, and I was like, I could have gotten off and go see Meshuggah.
How big is the Granada?
It's
Is it like Uptown, a couple thousand seater, or?
It's probably 1,200
Oh, okay.
ish,
Yeah.
depending on how packed they're wanting to get.
The only I saw Descendants and Buzzcocks at Liberty Hall. Yeah, that's the only show I've seen in Lawrence. Which Liberty Hall, between the stage and that first step is like 8 feet, and they were trying to have a mosh pit. I was like, dude.
Oh my goodness.
Liberty Hall's fun.
I'm on the barricade just getting hammered.
I would love to play there.
It's
it's a great hall, and I mean, like I said, I was on the barricade, so I mean, I got to reach down and touch every band member. I mean, yeah, it's a cool place. But yeah, I left my whole body was sore. It's like I went through the ringer, and I didn't even get in the pit. I was just on the barricade.
Yeah, I can't do that anymore. I've retired from the pit game. I'm too old to be doing that.
I've been in so many.
When we went and saw Whitechapel, Lorna Shore was headlining, but we left before Lorna Shore because my daughter was home alone. She was 17, but she was still like, oh. So, but we saw, plus my wife loves Whitechapel, so basically went for them. But anyway, they were doing the circle pits and stuff, which was cool and stuff. And then I see everybody just go like this, and I was like, oh, hell no. And just wall of death. And I was like, I got to see. I mean, I was up in the seats, I'm like, I got to see a wall of death. And it was funny too, because I've seen with all the shows I've been to, I've seen circle pits, walls of death, just big straight up mosh pits, all that stuff. The only fight I ever saw break out at a show was at the Psychedelic Furs and Jesus and Mary Chain, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
of all of the bands, yeah.
Of all the bands, yeah.
I saw one fight once, and it didn't even last very long. It was when Pantera took the stage when we were fifth row. My first concert, these two guys about 3 rows back started getting into it. Phil stopped the song and said, you guys, get along. Because security had come out. And it's on there if you watch. Now, I had the VHS tape of the Vulgar Display of Power. They did a VHS of it, and that was one of the snippets in there. And I got to where I could pause it and see my face just a little bit on the side. So I'm like,
awesome.
oh, I'm in it. But that was the only time I ever saw it. Like most of the time, if you went to a Pantera show at Memorial Hall, which I saw, I want to say I've seen them about 9 or 10 times before. Like, and this is before they got back together now.
I'm not calling this Pantera. I refuse.
No, but
is it just Phil?
It's Phil and Rex,
okay.
the bassist. And I mean, they couldn't have picked better people to play with them, but it's not.
I give them that.
Yeah, I mean, Zakk Wylde, you kind of had to have in there.
That was a layup.
Yeah,
there are motherfuckers in every band.
there's other, but so they used to come to Kansas City on tour. They would book us at the beginning and at the end. because Pantera sold out within like 5 minutes every show here. So my friend and I, of course, went every time, and this is back in they were standing in line at Ticketmaster. So I've seen them with like Typo Negative, Crowbar, a bunch of other bands, and they were just every time like someone would get hit in the pit, like even in the middle of a song, Phil would be like, "Pick him up," and they'd pick him up and like do a little quick bro hug and then back to circling, and it was just one of those cool things. I thought everybody like hates on metal, and metal is like the most welcome community, you know.
Oh yeah, I remember when Halford came out of the closet, and there was, of course, this was years ago, so like pre-social media, but there were like news reports and interviews and stuff, and everybody was going, "Oh, is the metal community going to accept, Rob Halford as being gay?"
Yeah, we are.
The community was just like, "Who gives a fuck? He's the god of metal." You know?
See all the leather they were wearing in the 80s? Like,
Yeah,
it's kind of obvious.
Come on. Did you guys not like Wham? I mean, come on. You know,
right.
that's what you have to ask them.
And okay,
Yeah, like
I got one more question for my wife. What drew you to metal when you were younger?
So I had a friend of mine in, I think it was about 4th grade, that started getting into metal, and he gave me Reload. And like, to me, that was super cool.
Yeah.
And then I went and I got the first 4 Metallica albums in the same day and ran through those, and I was like, this is a completely different band. What is this?
Yeah. You're like, what? Before you knew the history of Cliff and everything, you know, you're like,
oh yeah, and it's like getting just a crash course on it. And so then I had to know everything about the band, and so like watched a lot of MTV, VH1, stuff like that, and just basically, I mean, nu metal was big at the time, so like Korn became one of my favorite bands, but then I'm sort of branching off to Bay Area thrash, and then going back towards like new wave of British heavy metal, the things that sort of influenced Metallica. So I'm finding Iron Maiden, Merciful Fate, all these other bands, and sort of splitting off from there. And then I'm growing up 2 miles from Dimebag's house, so I'm getting into Pantera, and it just sort of went from there.
Awesome. 2 miles, man.
2 miles.
That's
I have a guitar signed by him.
That's crazy. Like he and Vinny, like, of course I'm a drummer, so most shows I would go to would watch the drums, but when I'm at a Pantera show, I'm like watching everybody, because it's just, and he was shredding so much. Like, people don't give him enough credit.
Oh,
sure.
I mean, the one person that did, and it was at his funeral, was Eddie Van Halen, was saying how great of a guitarist he was. And if you had never seen Pantera in concert, you would just think, oh yeah, he's okay. But no, that dude was just lights out, like every show. And it was just incredible to see him play.
Absolutely.
So when you first heard Reload, or first heard that, did like something like click in your head, like, oh, what? Because I remember the first punk song I really ever heard was that resonated with me was Rancid, Salvation, and it was on MTV, and I was just like, it was like Meerkat, like, what's this? Did you have a moment like that where you're just like, oh, this is new?
Absolutely, because like up to that point, like my mom was huge into music, but she had and she had a ton of records, but it was a lot of classic rock, a lot of Bon Jovi, Boston, Def Leppard, a lot of Frank Zappa too. And then my dad was more into like country music. They both really liked Meatloaf, which was an interesting little combination there.
A little merge there.
God, man, I still have Bat Out of Hell on vinyl.
Oh, it's a great album.
But
it's fantastic.
Oh, it's incredible. And So yeah, like I hear any semblance of metal, and it's completely changed everything.
Okay. But yeah, it was like, yeah, that's when I first heard punk. I was like, this is mine. I was, this
Yeah,
is,
this is where I need to be now.
yeah. And, it's like I like all this other stuff. Like I mean, I'm huge classic. Like Zeppelin is one of my all-time favorite bands and stuff. But and there is metal I do like. I just I don't listen to it all that much. Some the only new metal band I really like is Rammstein. And but like
Like Rammstein, yeah.
yeah, older Metallica, Pantera. I mean, shit, Pantera was like that was our soundtrack for senior year, Vulgar Display of Power.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then like I was first introduced to Zach Wilde through Ozzy, through
Sure.
his album. Yeah.
Yep.
Which that was the first CD about that and Nirvana. Little Pat trivia. But okay, so what do you have coming up? We're gonna have to start wrapping this up in the next 10, 15 minutes. But what kind of shows you got coming up? What do we got going on?
All right, so we're playing September 28th, a place called Reno's in Deep Ellum. I know that Tongue of Eden is playing. I know that Asylum is on that as well. I don't remember the rest of the bands on this. It's funny because like we had originally accepted this show on December 6th, and then King Diamond announced his tour dates.
Oh,
and he was playing on 6th in Dallas. So I'm like, I've had tickets to him and missed him twice, so I'll be god fucking damned if I'm missing this again. So I hit up the promoter. I'm like, that show's on the 6th, isn't it? And he was like, you guys are playing the 7th. I was like, sweet. That's what I thought. And it ended up getting moved to the end of the month anyway. But like, I was not missing King Diamond for anything.
Hell no.
So that's the 28th at Reno's.
28th Arenas. Then we're doing a Battle for Wacken at the end of January.
Okay.
The metal festival in Germany. And
nice.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's a huge dream of mine to go to even attend that show. So to play it would be a dream.
That's fucking awesome. Okay, now, and if you don't want to answer or you can't answer, that's fine. But like when it comes to a festival like that, this is something I've wondered. Do you have to pay your own way over there, or does the promoter like the festival like help you out with that?
So I was told that the winner of this will get at least some assistance in traveling over there.
Okay, but
so
just
how much that is, I'm not totally sure, but it's something.
Okay, but
sure.
Up front, you got to pay for everything out of pocket. Getting your gear and stuff over there. That
I don't know yet.
Oh, okay.
I would tell you if I knew, but I haven't been told yet.
Yeah, I was just wondering because it's just because you would have to have your amps or would you just bring your instruments and trust their amps or their gear and their so I don't know. It's just it's a whole different world because you have so many parts in that. I mean, like I do stand-up comedy, so at the most I would have to bring like a bar stool and a mic stand, just to make sure I have
that
in case, yeah.
Oh my god, because like the gear that we tote around is there's so much of it because well, I tell you what we would do is we both use a processor for our amp heads. It's a Fractal Audio Axe Effects, and so we both run into separate power amps that run into cabinets. And in the event that we were to go overseas, we would just unscrew those little bastards from our rig and take them and then use rental gear behind it. Basically just power that, I guess.
Gotcha.
Nice. So one question I did want to ask you is, and hopefully this comes to fruition more, but we saw in July, I don't know if you watched Huge Olympics person. I mean, I don't care what it is. I usually watch. I'm not so big into like the horses and stuff, but so I always watch the opening and closing ceremonies. Well, this year, Gojira played which I'm sure you've seen the clips, if not the actual thing. I was watching it live.
The movie Antoinette
I had
brilliant.
I had just gotten home from Detroit from work, got home eating dinner, and we started watching it, and they popped up. And I knew that there was a possibility that Gojira would be there because from France, and they're awesome.
Sure. Yeah.
And they killed it. And everybody's like, oh, now we need Metallica to play the Super Bowl. Now we need Metallica. What do you think the chances are that them playing this is opening the door more for other metal bands? And which metal bands would you like to see in a spotlight like that?
So, for one, that was one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my entire life. Like this thing that like I had all to myself when I was in middle and high school, metal, because like I was the only person in my school who was listening to metal, especially in high school, and they're doing that on the international stage. Like I was at work when it happened, but I'm scrolling Twitter and I saw it, and it just gave me goosebumps. I get goosebumps now talking about it. Like it's absolutely incredible. And like I've got it saved on a playlist on Spotify. Like I have no idea how many times I've watched that video since. Countless times. For a while they kept taking it off the internet. I was like, stop that.
Yeah.
I'd find a new link on Twitter and then they'd take it down. I was like, no, give me my shit back. But yes, the easy answer is Metallica, because there's no metal band on their level as far as drawing a crowd. I mean, they're doing this tour where they're playing football stadiums twice. Like that's some Taylor Swift shit. like metal bands can't
crazy
do that. So yeah, I think it's possible.
I'm really hoping it does.
Get them to play a Super Bowl.
Really am. And that's actually, so I have YouTube Music, and it gives you the end of the year update. That's like one of my top 2 or 3 songs is Me Culpa.
Oh, really?
Because it's on YouTube Music, and I'll just, every once in a while, I'll play it. And like, being a wrestling fan, you always think, well, what if I had my own entrance music? That would be my entrance music right there.
Sure.
Just walk out to that, and everybody would know, like, Me Culpa. And it's, like you said, it gives me chills when I saw it. And I was like, my wife, I got her, and so I won tickets from 98 Rock to a show in like November, and this is like 07. Wife wasn't really into metal. Hard rock, yeah, some more like hip hop type and stuff. But I won tickets to see Seven Dust. And so I was like, hey, you're going with me. We're going to go be a date night. Well, the bands that opened up, and I don't know if you've heard of, obviously you've heard of Seven Dust, but so a band called Down From Up opened. They're from Knoxville, Tennessee. Freaking amazing. There's a guy named Andy Wood who plays the guitar, and he just shreds. So Down From Up, Digital Summer, Drowning Pool, and Seven Dust. And that was my wife. That was my wife's first metal show. So, and she's like metal all the time when she's working out, metal, and because metal's perfect for that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, she loved it. Her only complaint at the time was the guy in Digital Summer said fuck too much, because it was like every other word coming out of his mouth, like fuck, fuck.
Sure.
And first metal show, I kind of get it, but like after a while, that's something that happens all the time, so you don't even need to worry about that, honey.
Yeah, exactly.
When we saw Sanguisugabog, one of my highlight of the night of that was lead singers up there going, yeah, this is a song about getting dragged by a truck. It's called Dragged by a Truck. Because I'm used to like, this is a song about when I was in depression and stuff. It's like called Dragged by a Truck. Yeah, we have we just bought tickets for Coheed and Mastodon. They're coming to Des Moines.
Fuck yes.
Yeah. My wife absolutely loves Coheed, and we're like, well, we have to stay for Mastodon.
I love Mastodon.
Mastodon's one of my favorite bands on the planet.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, like I said, not a huge metal fan, but I know Mastodon's going to put on a fucking awesome show. So I will.
Oh, yes, they are.
Yeah. My brother-in-law loves Mastodon. So yeah, he's like, I could give you a bunch of records. In fact, I'm going to recommend you guys to him. He fucking like Cattle Decapitation is one of his favorite bands.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he loves them. Yeah, Cannibal Corpse, and yeah, whatever any of them come through. Shit, I forget the last one. That it might have been Mastodon last year. I don't know, but yeah, and I know, and I mean, I listen to some of them. I'm just like, yeah, this is just metal. It's just really fucking good metal. Yeah, so I'm excited about that show. That's gonna be fun.
I'm mentally thinking, how can I make Casey sick so I can go with Pat? And now Casey's going to kill me. So
yeah, it'd probably be easier to go, hey, Casey, Brian wants to go to that show. And
she's like, well, Brian can buy a ticket.
I'll give a fuck. Yeah, whatever.
Oh, yeah. Brian can buy a fucking ticket.
So yeah, that's gonna be good. And the nice part, like where we live, Kansas City, it's like everything is a few hours away. So like Dallas is 8 hours from here, and we're Midwesterners, so it's like, oh, an 8-hour drive, that ain't shit. Yeah. Minneapolis I didn't know Minneapolis was only 6 hours away. So yeah, we saw Cure. Yeah, I know. I'm thinking it's going to be 14 hours. Yeah, so we saw the Cure there last summer of 23, which is funny. My wife's huge metalhead, loves the. I always call it the garbage disposal lyrics, not to not to disparage it, just being
Pat,
smart.
I'm a big metalhead. And I've seen No Doubt twice. Okay.
But yeah, her favorite band is The Cure, which she's like, I know.
My fiance too.
And do you have any outlier bands? You got any bands?
I've seen Lady Gaga twice.
And I bet she puts on a fucking awesome show.
Oh my god, it's incredible.
That's fucking cool.
4 times. Like I'll go see Brad Paisley anytime.
Oh yeah, he when I was stationed at Fort Benning in Georgia, he just this was in the late 90s. That's when he kind of started to get big and stuff. So like a lot of country from like 95 to 2000. I listened to a lot of it, and yeah, I remember. I can't think of any songs offhand, but I remember digging him.
Absolutely.
I'm a huge punk fan, but anytime Blue October comes through, I have to see them. And I know they're like adult contemporary alternative, but I'm just like, yeah, but I fucking love them.
For sure.
So it's really cool. I had a good time.
Me too.
We're gonna have to be wrapping it up. Dylan's got another show that he's doing on here. But yeah, dude, you're fucking awesome. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not just bullshitting you because you're here. You can fucking shred. And the music is really cool. And you guys got to get bigger because you are too fucking good. But
absolutely. Before we go though, plug your socials.
Yeah.
So that we can get the word out there.
All right. So we are Sparrows Metal on Instagram. I'm pretty much everywhere. You'll find us that way. For me, I'm Bun So Vile, like the Cryptopsy record, None So Vile, on Instagram, Blue Sky. That's pretty much it.
All right. One thing, because we have a Two Old Goats playlist, and so every show, Brian and I add a song, and we ask our guests to add a song.
And it is on Spotify.
It's
okay.
Two Old Goats playlist. And one thing, there are 2 bands called Sparrows.
Yes, there are. Well, not anymore.
Not anymore.
No, but yeah, no.
Yeah,
defunct band that I started to listen to.
I forgot to tell him, and he picked the wrong one the other
I
day.
picked the wrong one, and then I was scrolling through, and I was like, "This band is, they say in their bio this band is dead." And I was like, "Oh, so you want the check out Sparrows? This oh shit, it's disappearing. There we go. That's the picture you want. That is the good Sparrows. The four.
Yeah, that had been an ongoing battle since around 2011 because they formed around the same time. And
Right.
it's just been kind of back and forth. Like when we got added to Spotify, we had to get our shit separated from them. Happened on Apple Music, happened on YouTube. Yeah. And so I checked the other day, and because I hadn't thought about it, and I saw the same thing, that they were dead, and I had not heard that. It's been a little over a year since that happened. So we won the bird war.
Nice.
So yeah, you want the four dudes standing there. You don't want the one of, and they're both black and white pictures, but you don't want the one of them on the stage. Just the dude standing there.
Right.
So yeah, where was I? Oh yeah, our playlist. Do you have a song, Brian? Or do you have some, Matt?
Actually, I was going to put on. Hold on, I'm picking one of the songs. I'm going to put on The Toxic Waltz by Exodus.
Okay.
I try different, get people
Toxic
listen to some different. I could have put War is My Shepherd. That's good too.
All right.
I was just going to go old school, say Shadows Fall.
Oh, hell yeah.
I think I already put them on there, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, hell, I don't know. We have so many fucking songs on here.
There's quite a few.
We got some weird shit on here.
Yeah, we had a comedian on a couple of shows before, and he put on, what was that? Something Party, Pink Panther Party?
Oh, it's Chapel Roan. It's like Pink Unicorn or something.
Yeah.
Oh, Pink Pony Club?
Pink Pony Club. That's it.
Yeah.
Fucking love Chapel Roan. That album's incredible.
I was like, I've never heard of that. And then
It was funny because he put it on, and then like a week later, like it blew up in the
yeah, it was crazy.
Community. I've seen it everywhere on social media, and I was just like, "What the fuck is that song from?" Oh yeah, Ryan picked that song. All right. You have a song, or you need a second?
Let's see. All right, we are going to Ride the Wings of Pestilence by Dawn.
All right.
Nice.
Introduction to melodic black metal for some people, because Dawn does not get enough credit for that.
There we go. Wait, I have Ride the Wings of Pestilence from first to last, or is that a different? Oh, no, there it is. There we go. All right, by Dawn. And
Yes, sir.
There we go. Two Old Goats. It's called Two Old Goats Pod Playlist. Y'all can check that out.
Not yet, though, because you haven't given your song.
And oh yeah, and the song I am adding is "Hell in You" by Amigo the Devil. Some horror folk in there.
Okay.
I saw him when he opened up for Flogging Molly, and it was very, very interesting. It was a new kind of horror folk is pretty cool. So yeah, we have stuff on here. Yeah. Check out the podcast, or check out the playlist. Two Old Goats Pod playlist on Spotify. It's an odd one. Check out Sparrows on. You're on Spotify. You're on Apple. You're on YouTube. You're everywhere. All right, Cool. Yeah. Check.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, Matt. I've been wanting to ask you to come on for quite a while, and I've been out of town like 15 or 16 weeks out of this year. So, and I'm not even joking.
Wow.
But thank you so much for coming on.
Absolutely, dude. And I really hope that you guys just get bigger and stuff, because more people need to know about you, man. Your fucking music's awesome. Yeah, so we'll do what we can. We'll get the word out. But yeah, you guys fucking shred. And because I am an admin with absolutely no power, what we do now is we just leave the studio, and then Jukebox will just shut down the stream when we're all gone. So
He'll cut it.
yeah, because we're professionals like that. We don't start on time. We're fucked up on the intro. It gives it that charm. But no, dude, I wish you only the best. I hope you have a fucking happy holiday, happy new year, and hope to have you back sometime. This is a lot of fun.
You guys as well. Thank you so much for having me. I will come back anytime.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
I'm going to sign off. Y'all take care. Happy holidays.
You guys as well.
man.